Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today is a new series and it is my very first collaboration. So if you'd like to see more, then stay tuned. Hey friends, thanks for joining us. If you're new here, this is EllisFamLife, #autistictwins, where we like to do three things. We want to raise, relate, and educate. Raise awareness and acceptance for nonverbal autism, relate to you and the autistic person in your life, and educate by sharing examples and stories of our life with nonverbal autistic twins, Alex and Will. So today's video is really special and I'm really excited because it's my very first collaboration, and I sat down on Easter Sunday with a dear friend and talked about her autism story. So she gets to share her story and you get to see what it's like, especially in this story for someone who has been dealing with this for almost 20 years, and the paths that have been forged for people like us who are just starting on our autism journey. So let's jump into part 4 of our collaborative interview with Kim Poston.
So anyway, I told him, I said, I have suspected since he was less than a year old that there was a possibility that he was autistic. And the older he got, the more convinced I was. I haven't been able to get anyone to listen to me. I said, our pediatrician is fantastic. Wouldn't trade him for the world. He saved Ellis's life on 2 different occasions.
Right.
Like guaranteed, I know this for a fact.
Yeah.
Even he
We just don't know that much about it. Right.
And he said, it's just not common. Like, we have to do, the professional hours. Like, you have to keep up your accreditations and stuff.
Right.
And he was like, so, we go to talks, infectious disease conferences, and we do all these things. And he was like, there's just not a lot of information sharing about autism. And it really is very much a specialist thing. Your general practitioner or pediatrician or whatever is just not.
Do you need to be on the camera too?
Okay, so at 16, you finally get somebody to say, have you thought about autism? So for 16 years, you've been plugging away at all of the things: physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, working through the emotional aspects of it, learning how to talk, learning how not to toe walk. Because obviously, Ellis is pretty high functioning.
He is very high functioning.
Because he talks, he articulates very well. I do believe that he's come as far as he's come because of his parents. You know what I mean? Like any other, maybe it's because he didn't have a label growing up that you had to push.
We had to.
And
because if you
make him acknowledge his potential or make him reach his potential.
Yeah. Well, but not for our benefit.
Not for his.
Because if you don't have a label explaining why you can't do something, then it reflects poorly on you. Like if you don't have, they have Down syndrome. Probably not going to be able to drive a car.
And I'm going to tell you right now, a label is easier. It does make life easier.
It's agonizing.
It is.
And it's traumatizing. And it is such a relief to be able to put a name to this entity. I mean, it's just because it's almost like another person living in your house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
It's a whole separate issue that you have, a whole separate being that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
In addition to feeding and clothing and bathing your toddler and your
oh yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's that you've got the basic needs that everybody needs, but then you've got the autism on top of it. And
okay, so let's go back and talk about his diagnosis. Did he do a battery of tests, any autism tests? Did he put him somewhere on the spectrum? Like, talk about that a little bit.
He did a lot of things with Ellis, just the two of them. Most of the appointments, Ellis wanted me to go in there with him. He was absolutely okay with that.
So tests.
Looked back at some stuff that our pediatrician had done. So I had always identified Ellis as autistic because when
not Asperger's, right?
Well,
did we lean towards Asperger's?
Said. That's what Dr. Faber
said.
said.
Okay, because I can't remember what we. Because maybe you had brought up Asperger's, which is, can you define it for us really fast? It really is on the spectrum.
Yeah, it's the high.
It's kind of high functioning. Usually they're very verbal.
Very verbal, which.
Very articulate.
A lot of social.
Right, a lot of, they miss some social cues. They've got a lot
don't
of.
Get sarcasm.
Right. Which he picks up on jokes pretty well.
Well, that's taken a lot of work.
But it's taken a lot of work. Which means that it can be learned. You can teach somebody to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He's never going to be David Letterman, but
that kid is funny as hell.
But he is, right?
He's so funny,
right?
But for him, it goes back to not understanding what offends people,
right? And he's not easily offended.
Yeah, which really feeds into that.
Yeah.
Super literal.
Right, super literal.
Yeah. One of the things, and I think it's Asperger's related, I can't remember. They're kind of doing away with the title.
They really are. They're kind of just saying
just
on the
HFA.
spectrum.
One of the things, we call it one of his superpowers. Mm-hmm. Because these kids, yes, they're quirky and they have these odd things that bother them or that they can't do or can do or whatever. But they're fantastic people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
disability they have super ability.
Yeah. And that's
where's Waldo syndrome for Ellis?
For Ellis, yeah.
So talk about that.
Okay, his favorite, even before he learned to talk, one of his favorite activities that he actually could spend some time on, even with the ADHD, was like those hidden object books where you would have like a picture of just this. It's a 2-page spread of all these tiny,
like, where's Waldo?
Brightly colored objects.
Yeah.
And then it would tell you, find the purple sailboat where there are green sailboats everywhere. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember.
And you have to find this one. There's only one of them in this picture of like 1,000 things.
And it's a really complex picture.
It's super complex.
Yeah.
And at 2 and 3, you would tell him what to look for and he could point it out. Like he sees, like he doesn't really see the big picture. He sees hyper focus. Like one example, he was about 7 or 8 and Scott had been doing some woodworking in the shop. We live out in the country, sort of.
Yeah.
Not as far as Chrissy does, and so we have and we live in a valley next to a mountain, so we get a lot of wildlife. And I'm not talking about like squirrels and birds. I'm talking about like armadillos and things that people don't usually see in their yard.
Yeah.
And Ellis came in, Mama, come look. And I was like, what is it, baby? And he said, I trapped a baby armadillo. Me being the medical person, I'm like, they all the diseases that they can transmit are running through. I'm like, you didn't touch it, did you?
It didn't bite you, did it?
Well, I mean, at this point, I can't remember if he'd been in the hospital at this point.
Yes.
Had he?
Yeah.
So he has a compromised immune system at this point.
Yeah.
And so we
goodness.
have Germ-X everywhere.
I know.
Because
both of the hospital episodes had already occurred by
no, the second one was when he was 11. This was before he was 11. He'd been sick with it twice. He had Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is where your immune system attacks
your
mucous membranes and your skin.
It's pretty
scary.
Had
it severely enough. Yeah, he was in Children's Hospital for 5 days. Again, he presented atypically because, of course, he did. Because Ellis's atypical presentation on everything. Because it did not, for him, it did not affect his skin. It was just the mucous membranes.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, it can't be Stevens-Johnson's because the skin's not involved. It's like, yeah, but it's in his eyes and his nose. Everywhere you have a mucous membrane, which there are a lot of mucous membrane areas in the body.
More than you think.
More than you're aware. So anyway, it had damaged his immune system. Mm-hmm. And
still he has to be pretty careful, right?
We still have to be very careful.
Is he on the ventilator?
He was never on a vent, thank God. He does have asthma.
I remember there were tubes everywhere. This was before I was a nurse.
Yeah, he did have a cannula.
Okay.
With oxygen.
I just remember he looked really, really sick.
He lost a lot of weight he weighed 40 pounds and he lost 10 pounds in a week.
He was
he lost like a fourth of his body weight a week.
Yeah.
He was skin and bones.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, so we have to be careful So we have Germex everywhere.
I know, and you're careful,
And-
and then he says, running in and says,
Yeah.
I trapped a baby armadillo.
And
you're
I'm
like,
thinking,
oh,
what is-
Lord goodness.
The disease that in the Bible that everybody would have to go unclean.
Oh, leprosy.
I kept wanting to say Lazarus, and I'm like, what is it with my words today? I can't word. One of the things that they can transmit is leprosy. I
Are
almost
you
lost it again.
serious?
Yeah.
An armadillo can transmit
Not
leprosy?
all of them, but like,
it's, oh my
yeah,
goodness.
like in the shells, like it can get
Oh
trapped.
my
So I'm like, I'm
gosh.
thinking, I'm not talking about like, poison ivy.
I did not
that
know
falls
that.
off your body.
Right.
So I'm like, you didn't touch it. And he's like, no. And I said, okay, come show me. So we walk down the back steps, and we're walking across the yard. Now, we're not talking about like this great long expanse.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, don't step right there. A rabbit pooped there. And I'm like, what?
What?
And I just immediately stopped. And he's like, right there next to your foot. And I leaned down and I parted the grass, and it needed to be cut. I parted the grass, and there were rabbit pellets. And I'm like,
Oh. Well, thank you, buddy.
you're right. Thank you. Walked around it.
Noted.
And he had trapped an armadillo in the shop behind. We had recently taken out our sliding glass doors in the kitchen behind the shop because we live in kind of a no man's land. Trying to figure out you can't take them to the dump, and the garbage people won't pick them up, and blah, blah, blah. We just leaned against the back of the
you
building.
don't know what to do with them. Yeah.
But against the back of Scott's shop, and so the armadillo ran behind there, and so Ellis just put like a piece of wood on either end.
And he caught the armadillo.
And he trapped the armadillo behind a sheet of glass where he could look at it all he wanted and not touch it and freak mommy out.
This is as he was always, as a younger kid, would go out and play with the insects in the backyard. Now, literally, he would play with the insects like they were his friends. And it didn't make a difference whether it was,
what kind of bug it was?
an
Could be a
ant,
roly-poly.
a fly,
Interesting.
dragonfly, a bee. He would
Oh my
Honeybees. He would
goodness.
catch
pick up
honeybees.
bees and just let them walk on his fingers.
And
He's like the bug whisperer.
I've got a video somewhere at my house on VHS of him. I don't know if we got the first part or just the last part, but Kim was talking to him and he was listening, and then he went, wait just a second. He was like 3 years old. Wait just a second. And he reached up just like that and caught a fly by the wing. And then he put it in his hand and he petted it and then he let it fly away. Unbelievable.
Oh my
He did stuff like
goodness.
that all
Did you
the
get
time.
that on video?
I think I got on video him showing it to Kim and smiling.
Oh my goodness.
Like, that's for real.
Wow.
When
He
I
did that
say
more than once.
hyper-focused vision.
So that's his
Like,
superpower is
he
this
could-
hyper-focused.
vision. Yes.
Dang.
Like, he could see the beating of the fly's wings to such an extent that he could catch it by the wing without hurting the fly, so that it was able to fly away after.
If we ever lost something or misplaced something, we would tell Ellis, hey, find this for me.
And he could find it.
And he could find it.
Listen, let me tell you this. He was an infant. He was crawling. He was not even walking yet. And Chrissy and Chris hadn't built the house yet. We were coming up to visit, and Chrissy had Maggie get down on the floor, because Maggie was old enough to play with Barbies. And she had her get down in the living room floor and like lay on your belly and look around and pick up everything, because everything obviously that Ellis picked up went in his mouth because he was a baby.
Yeah.
And he was probably 6 months old, I guess.
Crawling yet? Okay, he was crawling.
but not walking.
Maybe 8 months.
8 months? Okay. And I walked in the door with him on my hip, and I put him down in the middle of the living room, and I am not kidding you. He did this. He just kind of scanned, and then he zeroed in and headed for the sofa.
Oh no.
And it was a tiny little Barbie accessory
It was a shoe.
It was a
high-heel
shoe.
shoe from a Barbie.
It was a Barbie shoe.
that everyone else had missed.
He was completely surrounded by age-appropriate.
Yes,
8
age-appropriate
months
toys.
old.
He crawled over those to get to the one thing he shouldn't have. I'm telling you.
So even at 8 months old, he had that hyper focus.
Hyper-focused vision.
Interesting.
How old was he when he saw the mouse at your house?
Maybe 3 years ago.
5 years ago.
They were. They had been born.
So 3.
So no, but they're almost 5.
Oh.
They're almost 5.
I think time has stopped for
I
me,
know,
apparently.
they're almost 5.
I told somebody yesterday.
They're
I
little.
was coming up to see you and her 3-year-old twins. Sorry.
2 more
But Ella
months.
found a little brown field mouse in the brown stone wall in front of my house, the old stone wall.
Was it alive?
From like 5 feet away.
It was hiding, and he said, the sidewalk's 10 feet away. He was about 10 feet away. He said, there's a mouse. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, right there in the wall, do you not see it? And I said, no. And he literally had to walk over and like put his finger within a half an inch of it. He
I know,
said,
because you couldn't
there,
see.
in a hole, where its rear end was sticking out.
Yeah.
And he spotted it. But I think that we've talked about this before. I think that's what led to a lot of his anxiety, is because his hyper focus. He could walk into a room. He could walk into a room and in one glance be able to tell you how many people had a knife and how many people had a gun. On them. Because of his hyper focus, he could see
those details.
the details that we don't notice.
Oh my goodness.
And it led to a lot of fear and a lot of
I was
anxiety.
going to say, which is a great thing when you're looking for your lost keys. But when you're just trying to live life and you might walk into a room and realize, okay, half the people in this room have guns on their hips or have big knives on their hips hidden under their clothing. But you're the only one in the room that can see enough detail to see that.
Now, I have to let y'all know we are in the deep south, and everybody packs here because this is America and this is what they do. So don't freak out.
Yeah.
It's kind of normal here.
Yeah.
I have a lot of international friends who would be like, what the heck are you talking about? It's kind of normal here.
We don't walk around with AR-15 assault rifles. We're talking about which I know to you is a gun is a gun, but there's a difference between a 9mm pistol and an AR-15 assault rifle.
Yes.
Okay, friends, if you have enjoyed the collaborative interview with Kim Poston, be sure to click that like button. If you're interested in seeing more of EllisFamLife, #AutisticTwins, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell to ring notifications for videos that I release on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. If you know of someone who needs to meet us or needs to hear our story or needs to build community because they're alone in the autism world, then share this video with them and get our message out there. Head on over to Facebook and like us on EllisFamLife #AutisticTwins and on Instagram EllisFamLife_AutisticTwins. We also have a CBD page if you're interested in knowing more about our use of CBD with our twins Alex and Will. Then see us on Facebook at EllisFamLife #AutisticTwins CBD VIP. And I look forward to seeing you in all of those places. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Stay tuned for next week for the next part. And as always, I look forward to next time.